What is going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and we're live here on Facebook because I want to talk about what is happening here on Thursday and what is happening coming into Friday. Of course, that's American time, so this could be Friday coming into Saturday if you're in Australia, but there is some very sensitive, very intense energy going on right now, and I'm going to talk about why this energy is so intense. I'm going to talk about how this energy is very rare, number one, because this is some very rare energy coming in, and I thought it was very important to get this message out. I thought it was super important, so we're here today to do that. Looks like we got a lot of people that's already joined up here, so it's going to be a good live show. Now, I'm not in my studio. I'm actually here in my living room today, but we'll still be able to get to everything. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get in this room before we hit this thing hard. I just want to say, I know a lot of people are feeling, it's a little bit weird. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've been saying this since the beginning of the May horoscope that the 19th, which is tomorrow, through the 21st is the opening of a major portal. So there is this really weird energy going on right now, right before this kind of, oh man, we're about to enter into a portal, we're about to enter into some new energy, and I think a lot of people are wondering, why is it so extreme at this moment? Why am I feeling all this energy right now? And I'm going to help discuss right now what it is. So we'll just jump into it. Looks like we got over 400 people, so we'll get going. So number one, today, the sun is at 28 degrees of Taurus, okay? Now, it's near the end of Taurus. It's going to jump into the sign of Gemini on Saturday. But today, the sun is exactly starting its look at the north and the south node, okay? And eclipses are what happen at these north and south nodes. In Latin, they're the knots. So the sun's looking at this spot literally like this today. And you know what's so ironic is behind me are two windows, okay? So imagine the sun stuck in between them, looking at which side, right? And these window panes are bringing in these, very deep energies and very intense light energies as well. And actually very kind of spiritually magnetic, electromagnetic vibrations that are very intense, and they kind of go through your soul. And what's interesting is the moon as well today is in a perfect square. So if you look up and you'll see the moon, right? You'll see actually the 3/4 square of the moon. It's perfect today. And it's exactly happening on the nodes. So this is the first time that the moon has come over the south node in Aquarius, which just entered on May 9th. So this is the first time that we're emotionally feeling the shifting of an 18-month cycle that's about to happen in our lives, okay? So is everyone with me, all right? So this is the first day that our emotions spiritually can feel, holy cow, there is a shift going on, and it's pretty extreme in my life. Now the sun is right in the middle of it too, so it's overwhelming. It's actually, in my own opinion, what's going on is when you're dealing with the nodes, when you're dealing with the sun, and when you're dealing with the moon with the nodes, this is like an eclipse happening that's not an eclipse. It's eclipse energy without the eclipse, believe it or not. That might sound like ludicrous or crazy. All the astrologers in the world might think I'm just a ludicrous guy, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's the same energy as an eclipse. It's a 3/4 square moon eclipse. If one existed, it would be now. That's how extreme this is. And you know what? It's at the same time that Saturn's trining Uranus, which remember, Saturn is a big-ass planet, second biggest planet in the zodiac. Uranus is one of the biggest planets, not the biggest, but it's a big planet, and they're exactly making a trine, right? And so there's so much energy starting to go zing, 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 okay? And I think a lot of the energy right now is asking people to really go, hey, this is a shedding off right now of a lot of what happened over the last 18 months in your life. A lot of this at the same time is learning to shut off the energy that just doesn't feel good anymore, and you will experience it come up. So it might feel like, oh my gosh, what is this weird energy coming up? Why do I not feel good about this? Or why is there this icky feeling that's coming up? Well, not only is the electromagnetic fields of these high intensity spiritual energies coming right directly on top of the sun and the moon today, which is extremely rare. You will not see this in astrology pretty much anywhere. You will never see a 3/4 square on the nodes, ever. It's just not, just doesn't happen, okay? It just doesn't happen. And this is the first time we're feeling the transition of such a major event. We're looking at life differently. We're looking at relationships differently. We're looking at everything in a whole new thing. What's ironic, just pay attention to the news. In the last week since May 9th, it was this huge, we're going to look at things now. It wasn't like it all changed, but you could tell there's this major shift that's happening in people's worlds and how they look at life and how they look at the world at large. Now, what's I think the most ironic about what's going on today is also the planet Venus is in exact opposition to Jupiter. So here I am naming all these things happening at the same time. In astrology, that means, if you've ever played Keno or the Lotto, okay, pretty simple games, right? You pick the numbers, and if you get the numbers, you win. In astrology, if all these planets are hitting at the same time, you look at that day and you go, oh my gosh, I just hit a lotto. And I got the mega number too, because it's like the Venus opposed Jupiter, and Venus is also coming out of shadow period, which means this is where Venus went retrograde months ago, and it finally is coming to its completion today. So when you add all these things together, a major door is opening tomorrow, and there is a major weird feeling that comes up before you enter into that door. Some of it could feel like eclipse anxiety, I'll be honest with you, because you're dealing with the nodes, you're dealing with the sun, you're dealing with the moon, you're dealing with the transition of the nodes, you're dealing with Venus opposed Jupiter, you're dealing with trying to open up to more positivity and stuff. But there's this, oh my gosh, everything starts to come up and everything starts to feel a little bit off and a little bit weird. But then there's also this excitement for what's coming. And actually the excitement for what's coming is kind of burning the adrenals up and burning people's lives up. Like, I know there's going to be some crazy shit that's about to go on in my life. And you might not even, for those that are unconscious, might not even realize that, like, here it is. The universe is about to make one of its most major shift points in the next day and open up a major portal this weekend into really looking at a whole new world in your life, a whole new direction. And you know what? It's time. It's time. There's no more waiting. Everything's getting taken off the back burner now in the universe, okay? Because Mercury comes out of shadow on Saturday. The sun comes into Gemini on Saturday. Venus is out of shadow today and tomorrow. Friday really is the door opening, and Saturday is like we're in the door. It's open fully. And you know what? It's Thursday that's kind of this holy shit moment. I think a lot of people came unexpected. Like, I wasn't expecting to feel this way, or I wasn't expected to come into this energy this way. And there's this huge, like, oh my gosh, wow, this just kind of came out of nowhere underneath. And I think a lot of people, especially because we had Mercury and Venus, which were in shadow period for the last, it's been a while, weeks. I think the last couple of weeks have really brought up a lot of weird and unpredictable, and it can feel like a Mercury retrograde even though it's over. It still can feel like shit's going wrong. Unpredictable things that aren't going right. Things break. Things don't happen right. Things are, it's been slippery. It's been all over the place. And this is it finalizing here in the next day, day and a half here, to where Saturday is a major door opener. And I think we're at a crossroads in our life between, look at these two windows, of what door do we pick, And I think that a lot of it is, people question whether or not they should do things right now in their life. They question if they're making the right decision in their life. They question whether or not they're going in the right direction. And this is that moment where you have to really go, hey, there's a lot of intense energy going on. I know that it's going on. It's technically in between eclipses exactly today because the sun's exactly in between the nodes. Okay, so we're at the exact halfway point between two eclipses. Okay, and then you have a 3/4 square of the moon on it, making it really highlight the first time this Aquarian. I want to disconnect, but the North Node in Leo is like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You just can't escape this one. You just can't peace out. You got to stay in the game. And I think that there's a lot of this wanting to, find happiness and not feel so alien and not to feel so, over electrified. It could feel a little bit electrified, a little bit anxious. We're dealing with Uranian energy as well because it is a South Node Aquarian vibe. And so there's this major shift point, unpredictable shift point that's here, and the door is opening, and there's a lot of excitement, but there's the negative of the clearing of things to allow you to open and come into this door. There's the clearing in the last 18 months that is going on, and if you look back at the last 18 months, some of the hardest transits that people have gone through, people went through, literally. I mean, 18 months ago, put yourself, where were you at? Where were you at 18 months ago? It's May now, so go back, okay, so last year, 2016, and then go 6 months before that. Go to Scorpio of 2015, we've just come out of, holy cow, the Saturn in Scorpio, and we were ready to enter into exploring, and it was not an easy 15 or 18 months here to kind of like really get everything going. This is an exciting moment because people can really start to move into this new energy, but there's going to be a lot of fear that comes about when people start to, and I don't know why my guides want to tell everybody this, but a lot of this is worrying about what everybody else thinks, or worrying about what everybody else is doing in the world, or what everybody else says the world should be. This is a major moment in life where, powerful creation and positive things happen, but there's going to be people who don't agree. There's going to be people who, this is conflict with people. This is conflict with, relationships. It's conflict with people who don't see the same way as you. We're dealing with a Saturn in Sagittarius. We're dealing with Uranus in Aries. And I mean, this is where you find the people who are on the same track as you. And man, it's kind of a hard moment because there's so much overwhelming happening in this compacted moment here, okay? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's just like, oh my gosh. People, I think, right now have been feeling it too much. And I think they were wondering why. What is it? It's like, it is overwhelming. It is you going through a massive purge to come into whatever, which doorway. And there are two doorways to pick. There is the Aquarian South Node, and then there is the Leo North Node, right? So it's like when you look, where are you going to go? Well, the universe wants us to go towards the Leo thing, which is, unfortunately for a lot of people, a very hard aspect. It's the hardest thing for people to learn is Leo, because it is the sun, because it deals with your inner heart, your inner happiness, and more importantly, it deals with you leading the way and not going where everybody else is going and doing things that everybody else isn't doing. Doing things that just feel like, I'm going to go do this on my own. I'm going to go do this in the way that I feel is best. And I think that a lot of this is stop worrying about what other people think. Start worrying about what other people are doing. Stop trying to do things because, it was popular on Instagram. Oh my gosh, so maybe I should have it look that way. This is where you bring out your own power now. This is where you learn to step into your own power now. And Leo defines itself by standing strong and courageous in where you go. And this is the ultimate form of courage now. When you got the North Node in Leo, and you've got Uranus at the edge of Aries, and you've got Saturn at the edge of Sagittarius. You got the three fire signs dealing at the last edge. It's true fire. You got Jupiter and air. You got all this air and fire starting to burn, okay? And you know what? You have to, you either got it or you don't. And you know what? There's not a lot of water around except for Neptune and Chiron, which unfortunately isn't the best sign or planets to have. It's trying to help put the fire out, but it's too big of a fire. There's too much air. There's too much going around. And Mercury right now is in Taurus. It's about to come out of its shadow period, which means, nothing's on hold anymore. Things are just going to fly out now. It's like there's this explosion about to happen. Everything has been waiting to explode in the world. And that's what's coming up here in the next 24 hours, less than 24 hours. I mean, you're starting to feel it come up. as a collective conscious, as humans together, right, on the whole massive scale, we're at a place to where we're all feeling it all come up now. Like, holy crap, I can feel this crazy shit about to happen. And it's about to completely push into our worlds, you know. We're about to completely get pushed into this very powerfully. And today I was like, and I put on the daily report, if you're on the Leo King app, that I put it at way extreme. I said it's gnarly extreme. And this is one of the most extreme days astrologically going down, because it is right before this massive door opens. Literally tomorrow will scatter about energy, and into Saturday when the sun comes into Gemini, it'll just go, because Gemini just radically is all over the place. We got Saturn in opposition to, we got Neptune in Pisces, and we come into the mutable energy, and the merry-go-round's about to start. The fixed stability of Taurus is about to end, right? And so even though it can feel like the world's crazy, it's not even close to what that craziness feels like. That's coming in this weekend. That's coming in over the next couple of weeks. You know, and it's going to be a wild ride, you know. And I think that the feelings that everybody are feeling is like right before you get on a roller coaster, you know, you kind of are unsure and you kind of have a little bit of anxiety, but you're going to be all right, you know, and you're going to be fine. And here it is. It's about to, bam, it's about to open up. So pretty wild, you know. Thought I'd get that out there to people, help them, because I think that there was so much today that really I could feel in the collective, and I kind of felt it last night, but I felt it more today. Like it was like overwhelming. I was doing readings today, and then this afternoon after my readings, it was like, oh, no. I was like, this is not, you know, I was like, here it is. It's coming, you know, it's massive, and, you know, it's kind of peaking out right now as we're talking. And so I wanted to offer some sort of relief to people to let them know, like, you're not crazy, like, it's just this shit going down. Like there's a big portal opening up here, and you know we're gonna be able to get through this. Like no tripping out, you know, don't trip. And I think that people have been tripping out over the last 24 hours of like, what the fuck's going on, man? Am I gonna be okay? Like what is this feeling? Like what's going on in the world? And this is where you cannot get caught up in the world so much. South Node in Aquarius is saying stop thinking about the world. Stop worrying about what CNN and Fox News and all these people are saying about how the world is. You define the way the world looks in your reality, not the world. The world is not the one that is defining your life, but there are going to be people sucked in this portal to either the wrong side or the right side. And the right side is saying you have to listen to your own self. If you get caught up in the world and you get caught up in what the way they tell you it should be, which of course is like it's extreme right now. Like it is extreme. It's going to get more extreme. This is the, you know, I think it was so funny just in the political world on how like everybody was freaking out over all the stuff in the last couple days, and everybody's allowing the world to determine their own life. And I think that people are starting to realize, I'm not going to like let the world kind of, they don't even realize subconsciously it's happening. Because if everybody starts falling collectively for what the world should be based off what everybody else says, and who are they? Who is everybody else? Who are these people on television? And who are these people all over the world that are giving this is the way that life should be. This is the way that it should look. Who's the one who said it should look this way? The only one that I know the way that it should look is the old man upstairs, you know what I mean? And that's the problem, is we are now at a time where people are going to tell the masses, this is the way it should look. And that is disempowering you while giving people this false sense of, oh, you're empowered because we're telling you to go do this and go do this. It's people who don't have their own kingdom and self, or their own listening to their own heart and making decisions off themselves, or worrying so much about, well, what would my parents think if I did that? Or what would my what would my Democrats friends think? Or what will my Republican friends think if I do this? Or what would, this is where you have to stop all that shit. Cut that shit out. Because this is where you have to go, I'm going in the direction I feel. I'm not going to let the world tell me how the world looks. This is where people make the world the way it should look. Okay? Last time North Node was in Leo, you know, literally, I mean, if you look at the tech companies, right, it was right before the tech boom. It was 1998 and 1999, right? And, you know, it really kind of defined the way that the world looked. And it wasn't the way, you know, it was these people who kind of came out and said, this is the way I want the world to work, not the way that we thought it should look, that kind of defined it that way. It was also a time, I think, before that, if you go back 18 years before that, I think like MTV came out with North Node and Leo and a bunch of other interesting aspects. And, you know, it was like, we're going to show you the way the world should look, you know? But pre-MTV, it was kind of like, you know, we want you to come on a late night show and do a little swing, a little dance and sing. You know, it was like MTV was like, F this, we could do a music video and we could make it way cooler and we could put some cool cartoons on it and we could play the way we want to. You know, it's like, this is where you got to do that. So when everybody on CNN or Fox News or everybody's telling you that should look like this, I hate these talking heads on all these things right now. It's going crazy because I know in the astrology, and I'm not saying this because I'm not political. I am not picking a side. I am picking a spiritual, higher look at this all. And if you are dumb enough to listen to everything on social media, what do you also realize that South Node is in Aquarius? It's the internet. It's what people are trying to tell you. You are all being brainwashed right now with this moon coming over the South Node on how to think. Like, they've already implanted that Donald Trump should be impeached. And people just buy that. Somebody just thought that's an opinion. And everybody just goes with that. Now, I'm not saying I believe in whatever he should or shouldn't. I'm just saying it's as simple as saying I can make up something like everybody should be allowed to drink at 16 years old now and throw that out and get the talking heads in the whole world just automatically. It'll just start, okay, 16, sounds good. Like, wow. Like, people, you don't even realize the power right now of overwhelmingly conditioning people to live in a world the way they want you to live your life. And this is where you got to step back. And they're in small situations. I'm talking about it on a grand scale, but on a little situation, it's like when it's like, oh, I'm in my class, or if I'm in my community, or if I'm in my family. Oh, I don't want to, I want to do this, but maybe my mom might not like it. Well, I'm going to have to do it. Or maybe in my race community, they all want me to race Yamahas, but maybe I want to race the fucking Sea-Doo. So I'm going to race the Sea-Doo, even though everybody says the Yamaha's better. Fuck them, I'm going to race the Sea-Doo. This is where you learn, like, hey, do what you want to do. Do it the way you want to see it and believe in the world the way you want to see it. And this is about changing the paradigm through individuals finding their heart and their happiness now, not by these other people that are external of yourself. This is not going to go well. People are going to really get caught up into the world should look this way. Everything should be this way. And they're going to get funneled like sheep down that, that corridor. And they're going to get there and it's not even going to turn out that way. Because there's going to be people who say, no, you know what, I'm not going for that. And there's going to be a lot of light workers now that are going to be pushing a whole different story than you see on the news and you push on everything. Because you know what? It's the truth. The truth is not going to be coming from the way it should look like, but the truth is going to be coming from a place of where let's see what our heart says. It feels divine. It feels much more empowering. It doesn't feel like it's rebelling against the system, because Uranus and Aquarius wants to rebel. And this is where if you start getting that rebel inside of you, right? Like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, they're horrible. They're bad. Whatever. It's like, you don't rebel against them. You go just show them how it should be. You don't need to go riot against them and all that kind of crazy stuff. This is a massive time in your life to just go, I'm not going to let people decide my fate and my life the way that they think it should be, and I'm going to step into my own way, because this is it, folks. Saturn is about to enter Capricorn in 2018, technically December 23rd of 2017, right? And when Saturn enters Capricorn, it will be the longest away from being in a fire sign. Okay? It's far away. It's also burning the last flames. The Sagittarius is the weakest of the fire signs because it's mutable. So it's a wildfire, but it doesn't have a concentrated center. So the fact that Saturn leaves at the end of this year means that Saturn has to go through Capricorn for 2.5 years, has to go through Aquarius for 2.5 years, then it has to go through Pisces for 2.5 years with no fire. Now, of course, you could say that after like Leo, there's Virgo, and then Libra, and then Scorpio, and then you come into there. But see, the problem with this is these are the last 3 signs of the zodiac. These are all Saturn ruled. So Saturn comes home into his strength, where he's opposite of the sun and the moon. This is a zone that's very dark. Not meaning that these 3 signs are dark. Don't start getting all weird on me, people. Like, oh gosh, like Capricorns are dark. No. What this means is that Saturn gets to reign his darkness and his strength, and the fire is going to die. Uranus is leaving Aries in 2018. Saturn's leaving Sagittarius here. This is a moment in our lives right now where it's like a race car. Fucking put that shit in 6th gear and go the way you want to go. Don't follow what people are telling you to do. Break your own rules, and not a way of breaking the rules, but by following and creating the rules that you want them to be seen. If you don't like somebody or something, you don't try and change them. You just go in the direction you want to go. And this is a massive moment because you're not going to see this. Once the solar eclipse hits this summer, and then Saturn leaves Sagittarius at the end of this year, you don't get many opportunities like this in your life anymore to open up so powerfully and to go into all these amazing directions. Do not waste this. This door that opens tomorrow and into this weekend is not one to waste. It is time to open up and go. And take this. Mars is at full speed. Mercury and Venus are done with their transits of retrograde. Venus is now out of shadow. It doesn't go retrograde for 18 months, right? Mars doesn't go retrograde until like this time next year. So we are at a time where Saturn's trining Uranus, the doors are opening, the sun squared the nodes, we're releasing all the pressure of the last 18 months, and we're ready to fly. Don't fuck this one up, pardon my French, but do not. When you have the opportunity of your life sitting right in front of you right now, and you have a chance to do it and put it at full blast and go for it, don't you dare hide. Don't you dare say you don't have enough money or courage or strength or anything. The universe and God has everything for you waiting right now. Don't even fuck around with that shit. Don't even try that shit. This is the last moment for you to go and to change your life and to make it the way you want to, because when that gate closes coming at the end of this year, you will hate it if you're in the wrong spot. I have been preaching this for over almost a year. You can feel it. This is the opportunity. The sun's starting to get ready to trine Jupiter as well on June 3rd. Ironically, the day I get married. So, this is it, folks. I've been telling people to wait for May, and that May was going to be the month that opened up all the doors of 2017, and here it is. May 19th through 21st is the beginning. Boom, there's a new moon that follows it next week. Boom, and then on top of it, the biggest day of the year, June 3rd, where all the planets are talking in the biggest harmony of all time, and the door is all the way open, and you just fly or not. And then there's this huge solar eclipse building in Leo with Mars that'll be in Leo, and it's going to be overwhelming, and a new moon in Leo on July 23rd, from July 23rd to August 21st. That's going to be the biggest. This next 3-month cycle, June's kind of you know, unlocking doors and stuff, but the end of June's kind of slow. Into the beginning of July, there's a little bit of, you know, okay, this is great, but man, I'm telling you guys, this door's opening now. Don't fuck around. Don't mess around, especially coming into the summer, because you barely get opportunities like this. If you want to watch my June webinar, register now. We are doing it next week on Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up now at inclusiveastrology.com if you want to find out how we're doing this about June and to understand what's going on in June. Also, this is the last week of my readings at this price. Contact Lauren, astrologerdavidpalmer@gmail.com if you want to get a reading. Anyway, I hope that everybody loved this message. I hope that this all made sense. I hope that everybody was able to understand what's going on with these nodes. You can rewatch this video. Please share this video. Please get this thing out as much as you can to try and help people, because this is the stuff that needs to get out there, not the stuff we're seeing on TV, not the separating and divisiveness and all the craziness and trying to have you live a life there's people on TV trying to convince you of how to live your life. Now, you could say that I'm trying to do that. I'm just trying to have you live the best fucking life ever and go into the greatest world that you want to create, however you see it, whatever your belief is, whatever your talent is, whatever your way is. This shouldn't be about anything about how it's got to be done this way. No, fuck that and fuck them. Let's just go show them the way the world should look on our own. Later.